Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Namaste Center on St. Patrick's Day, 2013. I guess I don't have to say the date, but there are many people. It's a significant date. I can't tell you how many people I know whose birthdays are today. Do you all know people whose birthdays? Is it your birthday, Bill? Well, happy birthday! Any other birthdays on St. Patty's Day? Huh?
His dad's birthday.
Oh, well, there you go. And Ellen's dad's birthday, and Candace's birthday, and my friend Peggy in Ohio, or Illinois, excuse me. So it seems like besides being a day to drink green beer, it's a great day to celebrate birthdays. And of course, Claire, to celebrate your beloved and his transition into spirit, and know that he's toasting us right now.
You know, they dyed a Savannah River green.
I know. That's one heck of a party. My niece is down in Disney. She and her husband flew down there to enter in the festivities. They were sending Facebook postings, I noticed, at like 2 in the morning. They were dancing downtown Disney. So I never really understood it, but happy St. Patty's Day and birthday.
Terry said they don't celebrate it hardly at all in Ireland.
Yeah, so you got access to that Guinness beer there too. Yeah. Which I'll tell you another little tidbit. I've had lots of time laying on the couch to learn all kinds of useless trivia. But in Guinness beer, they say it's not a vegan beer. So if you're a vegan, don't drink the Guinness because it has some sort of fish belly in it. Go figure. So there you go. So just a little tidbit. So in case you were interested. So there you go. Happy St. Patty's Day. So I found a little Irish prayer. I am Irish, actually, McGuinness. Everyone says like the beer. And I guess that is the original spelling would have been G-U-I. And ESS, like the beer, or however they spell it. But now it's MCGINNIS. So whenever I meet people and they try to spell my name, they always want to put the U in there. McGuinness. But no, it's just McGuinness. So there you have it. But anyway, the Irish prayer, which I thought was beautiful, is may God give you for every storm a rainbow, for every tear a smile, for every care a promise, and every blessing in each trial. For every problem life sends, a faithful friend to share. For every sigh, a sweet song, and an answer for each prayer. So that's my blessing to you for this beautiful St. Patty's Day. And may we all celebrate and experience great peace and joy today, because I really feel that that's what the day's about, is to be joyful. So, I found another trivia. I found a quote from the Dalai Lama, which I found, we were talking earlier before we got started here about retrograde. You know, it's like going to be over tonight at midnight, thank you God. It's been an insane time for not just me, but for people all around. I mean, and not just little stuff. I mean, just like bang, big wrecking ball, crazy stuff. I mean, everyone I talk to, it's like, oh, wow. So it seems as though what the heck is going on? And so as I've had time to sit and ponder many things, a lot of life's questions that I've wondered about and maybe haven't taken the time to think about as much as I could be, a few things came up. And one was the Course in Miracles. Of course, Helen Schuckman, who is the actual person that Jesus dictated the Course to over a period of 7 years, between 1965 and 72. The way that actually got started was that she and her associate, Bill Thetford, were having both PhDs, very intelligent people, worked with men and women at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital on how to find a better way to live their life. Yet, behind their office doors, guess what? They were having their own conflict. And they were like, okay, one day having a talk, well, you know, here's what we do for a living. We advise people on this exact thing, and yet we can't seem to get our stuff together with our relationship. And I'm very loosely paraphrasing here, but this is sort of what happened. And so her last words as she left the office that day were, it was, "There's got to be a better way, and I'm determined to find it." And through that, she goes home. In case you didn't know the rest of the story, she hears a voice, which, of course, for a psychologist to hear a voice is not something that they want to hear. And so she hears a voice, and it says, "This is a Course in Miracles, please take notes." Well, she freaked out and didn't know what the heck that was about. Goes in to Bill the next morning and says, "Oh my God, what should I do? I heard a voice." Of course, that immediately sets off triggers, hearing voices, psychotic, whatever. He says, "Well, take notes. It'll be between you and I." So for 7 years, she took notes, and there you have the Course in Miracles. Well, so I'm thinking now, modern day, 40 years later, there's a lot of things that happening, a lot of crazy things in our world that are happening. I was reading, probably more than I needed to this week. And of course, from conspiracy theories to hope and possibility, which is where I lean to myself. But either way, I do, what I came up with is the voice or the message that came to me was there has to be a better way, and I want to find it. There's too many people hurting right now. Really having some heavy-duty struggles with their physical health, with their emotional health, with their finances, with relationships, all sorts of major challenges. And it's as if, we keep cycling into these same patterns, but not really getting the message. And it's kind of like, okay, well, what is this message that we're not fully embracing and getting? I look at it as, we're not here to struggle. We're not here to be in pain. I believe that this life's journey is meant to be joy-filled, happy, just loving and good. I don't think that the struggle is anything but maybe our wrong-mindedness or our aligning with thoughts that create this in our experience. And so what is it, though? We all know the gig. We've gone through the studies, and we've gone through the classes and the seminars, and I was looking and listening to some of the seminars that people I appreciate and know have been teaching for a number of years, and a lot of the gurus that I've appreciated and respected and loved and gained greatly from their teachings over my life. They've got major issues too. I mean, major. And I'm like, well, okay. And not to judge, but wow, that's interesting. It's like, well, what is it? And what if we're really attracting this in? What's the real message here? And I got some good insight. And just to back up a little bit of if you didn't know, and I'm only using this just to share my experience briefly, but for 6 weeks now, I've been dealing with a hacking cough and the flu and then bronchitis and feeling lousy. And I finally, last week, after a coughing spell, walked into the walk-in clinic at Pardee, and they said, well, we better take a chest x-ray. It seems like pneumonia. And I'm like, okay, I thought so. Takes the chest x-ray, the doctor walks in, she's mortified and says, I wish I could tell you I have pneumonia, but you don't. I'm like, well, what do I have? And she said, you've got a mass on your lungs. And I'm like, oh my God. Well, needless to say, when you hear that, it's not a thought that, not something that you're prepared for. And so immediately I'm texting from the office, like to Ellen, I'm going, this is not good, help. And so she, before I know it, Candace is there. Ellen had called her and she was there. And so the good news is, fast forwarding, Debbie and my sister took me to Park Ridge for a CAT scan, and the doctor came in and said it was pneumonia. I said, I've never, oh, thank you, I've got pneumonia. I would be delighted to have pneumonia, but I am. And so I'm feeling better. Lots of good things have come from it, and I hope to God I got the message this time. I really do, because this is ridiculous. I mean, I have to tell you, I feel like a dunce. It's like, what is it really that you're not getting here, Shar? And I know what it is. And it was actually that the pace of my life has not been one that has been conducive to good health. And the doctor explained and talked about the miracle. I don't have a doctor, and because I don't really go to doctors. But they said you have to have a follow-up one, and they hooked me up with this gal, and talk about a gift from God. This woman could not be more perfect for me. She texted while I was there, her friend who's an Ayurvedic physician, asked her about a pneumonia remedy, and right up my alley, and talked to me about what to eat, and told me to rest more and get some fresh air and exercise, and of course stress was an issue. But stress in the point of not stress management, but the stress that I've been putting on my body. And I think this is an important message I got because, and maybe you all can relate, is I have a very willful, powerful mind, and I'm stubborn. And it's like this, for weeks, this was not going to get me. And I went, I drove 700 miles, coughing my head off from Florida. I was working, full-time, nonstop, taping radio shows, doing everything. And it was, for me, mind over matter. So much to the point where I was, my mind had made me convinced that I felt good. So I'm in the doctor's office. How do you feel? Oh, I feel great. and so they're like, well, and your lungs feel congested? Oh, no, not really. And of course, they're like, oh my God, such denial. And but the stress was, I had used my mind rather than to really be still. I was just going to plow right through this situation and just say, forget it, I'm not going there, and that's all there is to it. So I got the message that I really do need to be still. And so what I read this great quote from the Dalai Lama, and he was asked what surprised him most about humanity. And he answered, well, man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money, then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And then he's so anxious about the future, he doesn't enjoy the present. The result being he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he's never going to die and dies never having really lived. Can anyone relate to that? And it's such an enigma, it's kind of like, what are we chasing? I went through the whole life coaching and just one of the quotes was, you don't have to sleep now, you'll sleep when you're dead. And, okay, you can do it all, mind over. So it's, all this, I look at it now and say, that may serve a purpose and does for many, and I'm not here to poo-poo it. But boy, it's not where I'm at now. And I recognize that, it's time for us to choose an easier, simpler way of being and living. And, I think that your Lloyd, the other day, you two have had major changes too. I mean, wow, it's amazing. And Lloyd said, if this is the shift, I don't want it. And, it's like, I can relate to that. We've all heard, we all were waiting for that big date, 12/21/2012, when, Armageddon. I never bought into that. And to be quite honest with you, I never really even, when people were sending me all these things, I wasn't like, oh my God, this, even the astrological things, I was like, well, maybe, whatever. I didn't put my, claws into it and say, like some people, like, this is what's happening. And and so it never, but I have to say now, I look back and a lot of these things are happening. There's big time changes and situations that I can't deny. And I'm not talking from my own life, but just most people I know are going through this. And so, what's the real lesson here? And so it's, as I said, we're not meant to struggle. I'm done struggling. That is the Charlotte of the past. It's going to be easing the keys now. Yeah. And it's interesting. Golf. I haven't really been interested in playing golf lately. And wouldn't you know it, I can't tell you the last time I watched a golf tournament on TV. What did I do last week? All week, watched the Golf Channel. It's just like, that's interesting, where I went back to for comfort. And, it's, so I may be playing golf again, I don't know. So it's, but whatever it is, I think the lesson for all of us and the message for the planet today is that, we're here to create a new paradigm, truly. And this paradigm, the greatest gift that I think we have to tap into is joy. And we had a fellow on our radio show on Thursday on the Blog Talk, and if you have a chance, I would recommend you listen to him because he actually had a near-death experience 30 years ago. And he actually, Thomas Mellon Benedict is his name. And he went to the light, and he still has that ability to go to the light and ask questions. And so he's very, very, very cool. It's a great interview. Actually, if we could post it on the email this week, that would be great. And I was listening. Lindsay did all the talking because I didn't want to just cough all over the poor guy. But he's got some amazing insights, and he just reiterated, the idea is let go of the struggle, be joyful. That's what we're here to do. He talked about some changes that we're going to see on the planet, and they're all hopeful. Well, hopeful except for the idea he said that we're only going to have about a third of the population. He was talking about a new way of growing food, which is beyond organic. It's really whole and healthy foods that we're doing in the future. And, we're going to be more community oriented, which is what I talked about last time. I think that desire to be in community is strengthening and for all of us. It's as if we're going back to our old way of being, simple, growing your own food. I was watching on the morning show today on CBS. They were speaking of these ladies, a group of women who actually they showed the science of having a support system. I was in the bathroom getting ready, but there is a great amount of healing that comes from having a support system around you, and that people that you can talk to and share with and be open to. All of these, the idea of community. I was so blessed this week by the calls and the support and the food and everything else. And to be honest with you, the first few days I was like, don't call me. I was like very uncomfortable with it. It was weird, because I'll take care of it. And but it so it's been an interesting process. But the idea of community, simplicity, farming, eating well. There's it's up to us to get lots of rest and exercise, and not to take some of the stuff so seriously that we take so seriously. Because if we can ground joy, then that's the greatest gift we can give to ourselves and the planet. Now, what is it, that is important to us in our life? I heard a lot of different speakers say, they hadn't heard too many people on their deathbed say, I wish I'd spent more time in the office. That's just, so that's something to think about. And, it's, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the people who are out there, the big names, and I don't want to go into mentioning them, but many of them have been dealing with major physical issues, significant, is up to dying, cancer, brain tumors. I mean, and these are people that we think have it together, and they do. But what I've really gathered from this is, when we get into a mode of service, we can't do it for anybody else. We can be there to support and honor and love and be present. But if we're doing it from the place of giving and giving of ourselves what we don't have, then it depletes our immune system. And I think that's what happens is that we give more than we have to give a lot of times. And being light workers and caring people, that sometimes it gets a little out of balance. And so it's up to us to honor ourselves. Now, one thing this Thomas Mellon Benedict had said, which I think he had, where did I put this? Oh, so he had talked about we need to overcome kings, priests, and thieves. And, I think that's very interesting because we still, the big message that I'm leaning towards here today is that there's nothing out there. Nothing out there can save it. Nothing can fix us. We're not here to fix or change anybody. And if we just get back and be simple. And I believe that even the idea of the mega churches serves a purpose. But I think the small groups and the core families are where we're heading now, the spiritual families. And it's because, it's all this. To maintain and sustain big stuff takes a lot of energy. And I don't think that's what we're looking for these days, at least some of us. I'll include myself for that. So instead of honoring the kings and looking to the kings for the answers, or the priests, here we are, guess what? We got the new Pope. Seems like a nice guy. Seems nice.
Time will tell.
Huh?
Time will tell.
Time will tell, exactly. Seems humble, and so yeah. So, but again, to me that is such a interesting to think that the whole world stood still the day that that smoke came out, and it's to who did they choose, and what name did he choose, and what's he stand for? And here, for 1/5 of the world's or 1/6 of the world's population, this guy is their God, basically, telling them how to think, what to do, and what to be. And I just find it interesting because these are beautiful people who, honor and have ceremony about this. But my idea of the new paradigm is not to give our power to anything outside of ourselves. And I believe, even something I read the other day from, a more fundamentalist perspective, that God, and I don't think in a vengeful way, I would change the language, that the universe is actually tearing down everything that keeps us from knowing who we are. And that said, God is taking away everything that keeps us from knowing Him. But I think that anything we've clung to or looked to for support or value or meaning doesn't have that anymore. And it's up to us to know that it all resides within us, and that we are complete. So we don't have to look to kings and priests anymore for the truth. We have to go inside. And what did they say? The old story that hide the truth inside of them, they'll never look there. That's the punchline. But it's time for us to be self-realized. Self-realized in the perspective of knowing that we are God. We are that. We talk about that often. That's the biggest joke of all, that to think that that we are gods, that's blasphemous and will burn in hell eternally to even entertain that idea. Yet, that's what we're here to do, is to know that we were created in the likeness and image of God, and that is only love, is changeless, formless, and eternal, and that's who we are. We're here to, transcend the world, not look for meaning and value in the world, but rather know that we're complete and whole as it is, and to live from that perspective. I look at some of these, I love the idea of sheeple. I love that, the sheeple. And, here's the major stadiums, and, you see, they say sheep, this fella, Benedict, he said that sheeple go to stadiums. Because instead, they're just being herded and tell me what to say, what to wear, what to eat, whatever, and I'll do this. And there's not really a whole lot of room for self-awareness in that formula. So it's time not to be a sheeple, but rather to know that you are that. No more of this, no more of the priest and the flock or the sheeple, but that we're all exchanging. That's why I love the Course in Miracles. It says we're all students and we're all teachers. So we're all equal. And that includes the Pope. The Pope that's like the Godhead figure, the Father figure. And so the golden rule, how do we treat others? Do unto others as we'd like to be treated. It's even if Mother Teresa, and can you believe that, maybe you all haven't been reading this, but I have, that they've been giving her a lot of flack lately, saying, she was like, she wasn't all she was cracked up to be. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, when you go pick on Mother Teresa. So but it's interesting. We're always looking, it's as if when someone is living from their heart or living from love, it's so threatening to the ego that you got to find something wrong. And it's up to us to know that just it's what other people think of us is none of our business, and to make decisions living from the heart. The science, if you need science, now we've got heart math, which is actually supporting that get out of your intellect, get into your heart, and that's what this whole movement is about. Not to analyze it, but to live from love. And so we're also, we've basically just forgotten who we are. And I find it very interesting, things that didn't bother me in the past, and I'm not saying that they upset me and make me depressed, but on Facebook, people share their views and sign this cause, this petition, and just when I see these little turtles or little lizards in a bag that people wear around their necks in China, that they sell them, and I'm thinking, used to that was no big deal, just you would read that they would sell them at the fairs and the circuses or whatever, and now that's like, oh my gosh, the compassion I have for a turtle and a lizard now. It's hard to even, there was a little bug in my car today, and normally it would have been, and so I'm like trying to get it out, and I did. But things change because we are connected to all things. There's the whole even idea, meat is not as interesting. I'm sort of playing back and forth with that now. I haven't gone there all the way. I have a hamburger for lunch, but thinking about it. And it's when we realize that we are connected to everything, and nothing is separate from us, then we live and act from a completely different place. And as he said, take time to make space to let the miracles in. Maybe you all can relate. I know with me, I wasn't taking time to make that space. It was just, I felt like I had to do it, make it happen, and and now it's really getting out of the way and allowing the miracles to come in. But the good news is is if we can shift our worldview, since we are all connected, not join into the fear and the chaos, but the knowing that all is well. Everything is unfolding for our highest and best good, and I never lost that knowing. It was just like, okay, how can we know that and maybe make it a little less painful going through the process for all of us. So I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to be with all you guys and to share this journey, and for us to really, bring heaven, create heaven on earth. I really believe that that's our purpose and our function. One thing from A Course in Miracles that probably I had a little shift to this week. The Course says that, this world is an illusion. This is not our home. And that rather than trying to fix the world, changed my mind about the world. And although I still buy into that and believe that and know that to be the truth, that this is not our home by any means, I may have more of an interest in the value of service and being, really creating not from creating an organization and all of this, but to live more mindfully, to be more, I think that maybe at some level I had detached from certain things, like, well, it's not real anyway. And I'm not saying I'm not compassionate and loving, but it's kind of like, okay, well, I'll just focus on the reality and the rest won't exist. Where now I feel like, no, it's important to reach out and really be led to see where I fit in the healing of this and really bring in heaven here now. And so a little bit of a shift, not really straying from the teachings of the Course, but the shift is in my interpretation and my being with the situation. So change the worldview. It's all good. It's all beautiful. I think that we can all start a golf league. We can all play golf now. The Namaste Golf League. I tell you, I really am a little bit bummed that they sold that golf course in Flat Rock, because it's and that was a fun place for me to go. So, but there's other golf courses, but it's just such a cute little place. But I know it'll be a beautiful park as well. So there you have it. So I found this meditation that I'd love to, actually I've got music to play with it. I'm going to play this, and it's just a friend of mine, there's no mistakes, sent this to me, and as you guys, you went to the review at Crystal Visions, a quarterly review, you had mentioned that tonight at midnight this whatever is complete. And I believe it. So let's just, I'm going to just, give me a second to make sure I have the right volume on this. And if you just want to close your eyes, and this is a miracle meditation with the solfeggio vibration, which is for the heart. And just take a moment and breathe into this vibration and just feel it resonate, bringing peace and comfort to every cell of your being. Take a nice deep breath and be still and know that you are God. And know that you are loved. Beloved, we understand it has been a challenging winter for many light bearers, both literally and metaphorically. We invite you to set your burdens down when you step through the next gateway. Do not allow mind to take you out of the precious now moment into the past. You have done your work and grieved your losses, and we have been with you. Step through the gateway to love and release another veil to the remembrance of what was initiated on March 11th, 2013. Do not be alarmed, dear ones, for there will be another layer of releasing on March 20th. We see this may possibly manifest as muscle tightness or a slight shortness of breath as the higher heart center is recalibrated. Others of you may feel the adjustment at the crown chakra level. So do be mindful of grounding practices to offset any possible dizziness. Beloved, it is not so much a matter of how the planets are aligning on that day, but more a matter of the energies that will be made manifest on your planet at this time. With this comes a dropping of a kind of spiritual codependency regarding other beings and a further return to personal integrity and sovereignty. It is perfectly fine and well to care for others and to have concern for their well-being. But for some, especially those who are light bearers, it has become a distraction from their own path. It is also a matter of faith and knowing that others, just like yourself, have their own higher selves and guidance team to look after them. You can loosen the grip of control over their life and path. Just like yourselves, they are being divinely taken care of. This is not to imply a return of selfishness in a more traditional sense of the world, but to be further centered in your divine self, and that understanding the path of others may not be fully known to you in the moment, and despite their outer appearance, a higher consciousness is at work, both in your life and the lives of your loved ones. It is possible to step beyond forgiveness. What we mean by this is that in the current Pisces stellium, you've been shown patterns that have been presented for release and healing, and you have indeed been working with this. We say to you that in the gateway of the equinox, a new pattern is being created.